Hey, welcome to the Metacast. So
we are your hosts,
Alex and Issa, and we are here. We wanted to start a podcast because we wanted to touch on some basic topics that have really been overcomplicated in the details. So we're here together collabing. Ascending Tribe and The Alkmst. You can find me on Instagram at the.alkmst, and you can find Alex at
Ascending Tribe.
So we actually met on Discord through Ascending Tribe. Alex, I instantly resonated with you. You know, when I met you, you were so I guess hospitable was the word, and I was looking for someone to share this insight that I thought I had found. I thought it was unique to me. I was like, oh no, I'm this crazy person in the world. I didn't even know that there was a truth-seeking community as big as it is. And Ascending Tribe was kind of my gateway into that world. And so I'm so happy to be able to do this with you. And I think that's one of the main reasons I resonate with you so well, because you've kind of been like my introduction into this world. And I've always felt safe communicating with you and talking to you. And I've always felt like we bounce ideas off one another so well. And I'm happy to do this.
I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful. So for me, like my connection with you was like, how do I describe it? Obviously, I feel like you have this really deep intellectual mind, and I have this deep mind, but what I find is that I really struggle to articulate a lot of the stuff that comes into my mind. So I have all this thought process and I understand it in my head, but then to relay it, like I've always struggled with that, whereas you don't have that problem. And for me, I was really drawn to how you articulate everything and how you explain everything. And I feel like when you're talking about how we bounce off of each other, I reflect so much from you. Like if I can come to you about anything, like, because there are things that I need to come to you for and reflect on, expand my mind, get answers to, you know. So that's my connection with you.
I feel the same way.
Super grateful that we met, bro.
For sure, bro. So we are calling this Metacast, and there's an intent behind it. The reason we've called it Metacast, first I want to give you the definition of meta, and this definition comes from Oxford Languages Dictionary. The definition for meta is something that denotes a change of position or condition, or something that denotes position behind, after, or beyond, or something that denotes a higher or second order or kind of thing. And the way that translates, especially in the denoting position behind, after, or beyond, is like it's a word that indicates that there's something beyond understanding, or behind what we know, or after what we comprehend. And I wanted to call us Metacast because I feel like there's an understanding that's being spread out and people are grasping it, but they're not grasping what's really behind, after, and beyond this reality. They're only grasping a very specific template that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but it's very situation based and it's not a lifestyle. And I think what I wanted to do is I wanted to retouch commonly spoken about topics. This isn't like I'm going to come to you with something you've never heard before, but I want to touch those topics in a way where people can grasp them and apply them to their everyday lives instead of it being such a fantastic thing. I remember when I got into this world and when I met you, I was seeking sparkles to come out of thin air because I was looking for magic. And I was overlooking so many magical things to find it. And if I had stopped and slowed down, I could have appreciated the magic as it was happening. And it was all based on my perception and understanding of simple concepts that I had grandified and put on this pedestal of untouchable. And it just seems so far away. And now that I'm in this world, it's like, this is all there is. And I feel like everyone should know that this is all there is.
Yeah, for me, like I feel like two things that things are overcomplicated. But I feel like we do that to ourselves. Because for me, I can really resonate with, you know, you were after this magical, sparkly kind of world. And for me, I've been in, what I've realized is obviously over the past couple of years, I've been doing a lot more shadow work and inner work on myself, is I've realized how much avoidance I've been in, how much my mind loves to distract me from coming into myself. And yet, like the way you put it, it really, the more we discuss about it and the more we go on and talk about these topics going forward, it is going to be quite simple. Like it's
Right.
gonna come across a lot more simple, hopefully anyway. I hope so.
And I look forward to the future. I know we have a few episodes lined up where we already have ideas of what direction we want to go. And we have some special guests lined up. So I'm really excited for the future that this podcast is going to hold, because like you said, there is a simplicity to it, and there is magic everywhere. I read a meme the other day, and it was a saying that Carl Jung, I believe it was Carl Jung, he said, those who don't believe in magic will never find it. And it's because it's a perception. It's not like you're going to see something that was never there. It's just you're going to understand it for what it is. And one of my favorite things to talk about in this topic is manifestation, because that's everyone's favorite word. Everyone is looking to become rich overnight, looking to create this grand, magical future or different life. And they don't even understand what manifestation is. They don't even understand the basics or the definition of the word. And manifestation, I'm going to give a brief definition. It also came from the same dictionary. It says, manifestation, an event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or a abstract idea. So with that being said, it's very simple. A physical a real item, object, or event that symbolizes a thought that wasn't physical at the time. So an event that embodies an abstract idea. Abstract means existing in thought, but not having physical or concrete existence. So when you change something from an idea to real, you've manifested. And people are expecting $1 billion in that process. Hey, I have thought of being rich. Now I want to manifest. Tomorrow I should be a millionaire. But they're missing all the steps in between. In order for you to manifest, you have to understand that it's not an event-based process. This is not something you do. Now that I'm in a hole, I need to manifest myself out of a hole. This is a way of life. You live in a stream or a flow of constant abundance. And the way you do that is making consistent good choices and stringing them together for long periods of time. So when you want to manifest or use this word in the way that people are using it, it's very simple. You can look at somebody in the face and smile, and I promise their face will change. Either they'll smile back or they'll look at you like, what are you looking at? But you manifested that reaction, and it was instant. It doesn't take a long process. It doesn't take, months on end. It doesn't take long nights of manifest or meditation. It's literally putting a thought into the ether and stepping into the reality that has that result for you. And what people, one of the facts that people seem to look over is all thoughts manifest. There's no thought you ever have that doesn't change your reality to some degree. Whether it's I'm tired, that's going to manifest sleep, or if I'm hungry, that's going to manifest a meal. You will find a meal one way or another. If you have to go to fast food, or you have to cook something, or you just have to snack on snack, you will find food, and you will manifest it by thinking the thought, I'm hungry. It's not a hard process. What complicates it is people don't understand the levels of manifesting. I've kind of broken these into two levels. The simple manifestation, which comes in the frequency of smiling, waving, frowning, crying, yelling, screaming, etc. Things that instant action, instant reaction. If I scream, you're going to say, what's wrong? And that's an instant manifestation. But then there's complex manifestations, and those get more complex, and the desires, as the desires complexify, the process for it to exist complexifies. So if you say, hey, I want love, you can't look at someone and produce love. You can't wave your hand and produce love. That's a process of stepping into the love. You have to meet the person, introduce yourself, and get to know one another. But once you think, I want love, the opportunities will flow. There are many opportunities to step into that.
I think it is a mixture. Yeah, it is a mixture of like your action plus setting the intention and allowing the energy to come in. I actually just wanted to add one thing that I forgot to say at the very beginning, is that I just wanted to add, these are our perceptions and these are our experiences. Like, we are not perceiving ourselves or portraying ourselves to be teachers or guides, or we're not saying that there is one way, but whatever resonates with you, you can take, and you can leave the rest. You know what I mean? Because this is not going to resonate with everyone, and everyone's got their own way. You know, we're all on individual paths, and we're all trying to work out and figure out.
I'm glad you added that in. I don't want to offend or step on anyone's beliefs. So I'm glad you added that in. These are definitely my perceptions.
Yeah, it's more, I just want to make sure that we're not like saying this is the way and the only way, because what we're simply sharing here is just our perception, which is such a minute, like, little perspective compared to all the other perspectives that there are, like, in the world. You know, if you think that everyone's on an individual journey, well then, I mean, if you think about how many people there are in the world, billions, then there's billions of perceptions going on.
For sure. And it's very individual. You know, reality is very individual. If I ask you what happened yesterday and you ask me what happened yesterday, we're going to tell two very different stories. So absolutely, I agree with that. These are all templates. And you know, when it comes to a template, you can print out something 100 different ways and they all contain the same information. The template just shows you what it looks like the order in which you place the information on the paper. And so it's the same with these ideologies and belief systems. You're just placing a template over reality. Reality is reality regardless. There is a factual reality which none of us can comprehend fully. And we're just all trying to place our understandings over this reality and make it produce optimal results for each of us on a day-to-day basis. There is no right answer or wrong answer or definite answer or perfect answer. These are just things that so far have worked for me, and realizations that I've come to understand just based off experience. This isn't something, I'm not an expert or a guru. I'm no master of any sort.
The second thing I just wanted to say about manifestation is I've become very, very aware of how I speak and about what I'm wanting, where it's really coming from. Is it coming from ego? Is it coming, because when it comes from ego, you're coming from a place of lack in my personal experience. So when I'm saying I want or I need, I'm actually telling the universe, I don't have this.
Right.
And so that energy and that feeling, because manifestation is it's not just to do with visualizing or setting intentions, it's actually how you feel. And feeling is kind of like the last result before the manifestation happens. So if I'm saying I want this, but I'm feeling I don't have that, or I'm feeling a lack, then that is what I'm going to receive from my personal experience. So I have to be really, really aware.
You do. And that's such a powerful message, Alex. I think you might, even with you saying it as important, I don't think we understand how important that is. I don't think any of us understand how important our words and our thoughts are, and how important it is to not limit them, but remain in control of them, because our words literally change. If you're in a room by yourself and you say something negative, the effects that negative statement has may be minimal. But if you repeat that same statement in a room full of people, it may be huge. And it's the same string of words. They change your reality and they change your perception on reality. And a lot of times it's just a perception. Manifestation could be as simple as being happy in the same situation. Some people just come to a realization that I am okay. And in fact, my life is good. And nothing changes but their mind. But they've manifested happiness. And it didn't take a car or a house or money. It just took them understanding that life is not so bad, or life is actually pretty good. And it's just the templates we place over life. Life is a constant. This world, this reality is a constant. It doesn't change for you. It is a constant. You just have to choose what parts you want to interact with. And you can choose to interact with a lot of negativity in the same room with people that are interacting with positivity. And you'll think y'all are doing the same thing, but they're happy and you're not. So something must be different. And so I just want people to be aware of where they place their mind and what to expect. You know, it doesn't look like what you think it would look like. It doesn't look like what's in a Harry Potter book. And I think that's what I know that's what I was expecting when I first got into this world. Once I first let go of mainstream religion, the first thing I was looking for was something fantastic. And the reason I was looking for something fantastic is because the life I had led up until that point told me that the reality I exist in isn't fantastic. And it is. It was always fantastic.
So it was your perception of the world, you mean?
Perception.
Okay, and expectation.
Expectation.
Because this is another big one. So this ties into it. And then your belief system as well. Because it's
For sure.
Like, I am working on letting belief systems go, not attaching to too many belief systems, because I really did before, and that's really come to my awareness recently. What was the other thing I was going to say? Subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a sponge, and it picks up everything. And whatever you constantly say to yourself, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because for me personally, another thing that's been coming to my awareness is the narratives that I'm telling myself, whether real or false. Like I'm the one creating these narratives and telling myself these narratives. And I have realized that I've been talking to myself really, really negatively. And that has been creating and forming my reality, because I repeat it so much in my, obviously when I'm in my ego mind, I'm talking a lot of negative stuff about myself. And this all ties in to do with like with unresolved trauma and blah, blah, blah. We can go on about that another time. But what I'm trying to say is, the more you tell yourself these things, it goes straight into subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is the thing that creates the reality that you experience.
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing for me is how much we're not aware about the subconscious mind, how much you have to be careful about what you're saying to yourself, how you talk to yourself, the things that you're putting,
especially what you say to yourself, not what others say, because you're your oldest friend. You have known you longer than you've known anyone else. And you trust you more than you trust anyone else. When it comes to completing tasks, if it's something very technical, you would probably prefer to do it yourself than allow others, because it's something that you know how to handle. And you wouldn't want someone else to mess it up and go, I should have done that myself. So we trust us more than we trust others. So when you tell yourself something negative, you accept it a lot easier than you would accept someone else calling you something negative or saying something negative to you. It's a lot quicker of a path from your mouth to your subconscious than 100%. With a stranger.
100%. And you have the choice. I want to just add that you have the choice accepting other people's opinions on you. Like, sure. You have the choice. Like, if you want to stay in a victim state, which I feel like I was, this person used to say that about me, or this adult said this when I was younger, but I chose that. Okay, so like unconsciously, I chose to hold that and believe that. But now I have a choice. Now I'm aware, and I can release that, and I don't need to hold on to that, and I can change the narrative.
For sure. There's actually two authors just because you said that, there's two authors I want to bring up. Aleister Crowley first. Aleister Crowley he spoke more towards controlling your verbalizations, your words. He actually had a belief system called Thelema, and within Thelema, he believed that every man should be in control of his words at all times, should never utter a word he doesn't intend. And he actually has a system to train yourself to never utter a word you don't intend. It's quite extreme, but this is how much he believed it. He believed that if a man uttered a word he shouldn't, he should cut himself. And it should get to the point where you never say a word you don't mean, because you don't know the effects of that word. And also I want to talk about Paulo
Coelho.
Yes, he wrote the book Four Agreements. And in the book Four Agreements.
No. He wrote The Alchemist.
The Alchemist, I'm sorry.
You just looked at the Four Agreements.
I did look at I'm going to tell you the author of the Four Agreements, actually.
Ruiz. I can never remember his name.
Ruiz. Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yes, yeah.
And in that book, he talked about never taking anything personally. And that's important, because if you absorb that negativity, you start thinking of yourself more negatively, and you start creating a more negative reality. If you don't take it personally and you allow it to roll off your shoulders, the chances of you recovering from the negative situation go up exponentially. And it's an important.
Personally,
it's an important rule to live by. You shouldn't take anything personally. And the way that works is, if I tell you, hey, Alex, you are X, Y, and Z, insult, insult, insult. All I'm telling you is, hey, Alex, the thought process in which I engaged led me to believe, based off the evidence that I have, that I think you are this way because I am A, threatened by this, or B, I don't like something you did. But it's all about what I like, what I don't like, what I feel, it's not about Alex. If I say you are this, that's just what I think about you. That's about me, not you.
Yeah.
And if you take it personally, then you're accepting what I said. You have validated it. And now you have to deal with it. Now you have to go through the process of arguing with me, or correcting me, or combating those words, which is just empowering it. You're putting a lot of intent into a negative statement. And it's just not a healthy direction to point yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I think we went further into this than I was expecting on our introductory episode.
Well, that's
I'm glad we got to talk about some of this stuff, and I'm glad we got to touch on it. And for the listeners, like, this is a good taste of what we're trying to do. We are trying to touch on little things, like, not little things, big things that have been overcomplicated. Manifestation has been way overcomplicated. That's like the number one topic talked about in this world, manifestation. Yeah. And it's just become this trendy word, and a lot of meaning has been lost in the trend. It's become this cool word to say. It's very new age. It's very hip and young, and everybody wants to manifest. When you say, oh, yeah, I'm going to meditate and manifest. But a lot of people don't really know what that means. They just think, oh, I'm going to go home and visualize myself, diving in a pile of money. And one day I'll have a pile of money. And you might have a pile of money, but I doubt it's from you thinking about a pile of money. I think it would be more about you thinking about opportunities and then stepping into them and creating a pile of money, more so than you just visualizing a pile of money.
And I think, without trying to make this topic more complicated, but what I do feel is manifestation is going to be individual for everyone, because sure. Basically manifesting anything is basically a manipulation of energy within this realm.
For sure.
So it's all going to depend on where your abilities are at that moment in time. So, for example, I can say East has been working a lot on resolving trauma, and he's been eating really clean, and he's in alignment, and he's been working on this kind of alchemization, and he's quicker at manifesting than I am at this point. I could say that at the sake, and then there's other people who might manifest different things. And then the other thing that ties into it is your karmic path as well. Maybe sure. You're meant to receive the thing that you want, that you think that you need. Maybe you're
also
not receive that.
also, like what you were just talking about, how like it might be quicker for me and slower for you, or quicker for you and slower for me. It might be quicker for me for certain things, and it might be quicker for you for certain things. There might be a part or something that you're trying to manifest that you've gotten really good at noticing the opportunities and stepping in them. And whenever that opportunity presents itself, you don't even think about it. You just step into it. And it's like, oh, every time she does it, she just gets lucky and it works out for her. No, she just knows when to step into it, and she's become accustomed to it. That same step you're taking may be a fear that someone else has. And they may be trying to manifest the same thing you're manifesting, but fear that first step and never take the first step and go, I'm doing the same thing she's doing. I keep doing the same process, shadow work, thinking these same things, put my intent here, but I'm never getting
that's
it.
what we need to get rid of. We need to get rid of this expectation that manifesting is one way for every single person.
It's not. It's not.
My experience.
It's and that's why I think I want to take away the situational based manifesting. I don't want people, I don't want to teach or explain to people how to manifest in a way. It's like, oh, if you're having a bad time, you should go home and focus how to fix that bad time. I want to teach people how to think in a way at all times that they're always seeing the abundance. So they're always in that flow. And that doesn't mean that times don't get hard, but that means that your mind is always geared to manifest, and you're not having to stop what you're doing to say, okay, I need to stop thinking these negative thoughts and I need to start manifesting. You should always be thinking those thoughts. You should always be thinking manifesting thoughts.
I just want to bring it back again, because you're talking about thoughts. I want to give you like the real example, like of how this came to me, this realization, because so my partner is really good at manifesting really quickly. Whereas I'm not as quick. But what I've realized is that he is so focused and so clear on the direction that he wants to get at, and he feels it. Whereas I'm so in my head, I entangle stuff and I complicate it for myself. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
absolutely.
So I'm focused on this thing, and then I lose focus, and I'm like, now I'm focused. Like I'm like this. I get distracted really easily, and that does not help manifesting anything.
And I want to say something. I don't want to offend, but I want to say that sometimes that's female energy. Female energy is like the earth. It has the curvatures and the hills and the ups and the downs. And male energy is like the streets men built. They're straight. They're direct. They're from point A to point B. If you're trying to get from here to there, you go on this street. And so I think a lot of times with men, especially in areas that are superficial, it's easier for us to manifest like physical things more so than emotional things, because for us, like it's all logic. Point A to point B, how do you get there? We don't feel anything in between, or the male energy doesn't feel a lot in between. But female energy stops to take in the sights and stops to consider how these sights make them feel. And that a lot of times causes you to lose track of the initial intent, because there's feelings along the way, and it causes you to change your intention or be less motivated, because now it's like things are better, so I'm not in such a pressed point to go forward, or things are worse, so I need to try harder. And it's like it's not constant. It's up and down. It moves based on your feelings, and that can cause an inefficiency. Did I offend? I don't mean to offend.
No, you did not offend at all. Like, you're correct. The feminine energy is flow. It's flowing.
Absolutely.
So it's always changing. Like for me, I don't know, maybe some people would diagnose me as bipolar, but just like some days I just wake up very different to other days, you know, but it's not because of there's anything wrong with me. It's the flow. I'm in a flow, and I'm working with the cycles. Like we all work with the cycles of the seasons, of energy, because we have like astrological cycles of energy as well. So I mean, of course they affect everyone, but I completely understand what you're saying. Men are a lot more structured. Yeah.
And I think that's what you're seeing. I think there's a lot that women manifest that you guys, or not you guys, but that is overlooked because just like men, we manifest things all the time that we overlook because we think it natural. We think it normal. We think like, oh, we're men, we do this, we do that, this is normal. But women are going, how can you just shrug that off that way? How can you just not be upset about it? How can you just, my wife asks me all the time, how are you not angry? And I don't know, but there, and she makes it sound like it's a positive, like, oh, you have this male energy, it's so positive, but it's not. It's indifferent. There's a place for it.
Do you know
But
what it is with masculine energy? I just have to say it's really grounding.
yeah,
it is
but
grounding.
It's also very dismissive. It's very dismissive and uncaring. So there's an important role it plays, but it can't play that role alone.
I think has to have though a healthy masculine.
Yeah, but a healthy male will have the necessary female energy to balance his male energy.
Yes.
But male energy in itself is going to be dismissive, and female energy is going to be nurturing and caring. And so you might say, well, you're too sensitive, but that sensitive person will look at you and go, well, you're a barbarian. And you have the point in the middle is where we're all looking for the balance of male and female energy within us. And the balance is multi-dimensional. You know, I have to balance male and female energy within myself, but I also have to balance male and female energy within my home. And then when I leave my home and leave the female energy there, that I have to rebalance myself as I leave to prepare myself to go into the world. I have to carry enough female energy with me to not go out there off balance. And so there's a process to it. You know, there is a healthy balance. So it's important to make sure that you regulate how you apply your male or female energy. You don't want to, I guess, be where you're stepping on people's toes. Or I know sometimes my male energy can dominate at home, and it causes my wife to feel unheard, and that can manifest certain things.
Question: Would you say you're balanced? Would you say you're balanced, masculine and feminine?
I will say that I feel like I'm fairly balanced. I'll say that I have times where I'm off balance, and I have areas where I'm off balance. I think it's really hard to maintain balance. And I think it's not something where you can just be balanced at all times. I think people can find balance in areas or find balance for topics, but I think there's always something that can throw us off balance. Unless you're true master. Mastery is what we're all looking for.
Yeah. Do you think that's possible?
I think there have been masters.
I think all the time.
I think there have been masters through history. I don't think it's something that's small, and I think anyone who claimed it would be unbalanced. I don't think it's anybody who would go out in front of people and claim balance, unless they were just trying to teach balance. But anyone who was balanced wouldn't feel the need to share. They would be indifferent. You know, balance comes with a lot of indifference. You get to a point where bad things don't bother you because you're balanced, and good things aren't as exciting because you're balanced, and you start seeing life for what it is. And I think what I'm trying to say is, yes, I think there have been masters in history.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's something easy. I think it's something that people spend their whole lives trying to achieve.
Okay. Do you feel, just come back to the manifestation topic now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like we've made it more complicated or simplified?
Today, possibly more complicated. It's supposed to be simple, but in order for it to be more simple, you kind of have to like start over. You have to say, okay, these things that I know, I'm gonna start over, and I'm gonna only pick out the things that are real and they work for me.
Yeah.
But it could be a lot simpler. You know, if you just take what I said and you know nothing, then it's pretty simple. But if you've already listened to 100 people talk about manifesting and you add mine to the end of the line, it probably complicated it. But the intent is to be simple. The intent is just to live happy and just see life for the good, and good will keep coming. If I could give you one thing that I think that you should hold, and I think you should take from this, is that manifestation is happening at all times. Every thought you think is creating something. And if you can think that, that's very simple. Like it's complex when you have to think about every thought, but just the idea of what I just told you, if you can understand that, then you have the basis. You have a foundation to build on. You can understand that the large majority of manifestation happens subconsciously. So I need to get my subconscious in check. I need to stay aware of my thoughts and be intentional with my words and actions. These are simple things that I'm saying to you, but when you apply them, the application can get complicated because people make you mad, or people hurt your feelings, or life is hard, or you got caught in traffic today, and we forget to see the positive.
I would also add to that. So your one piece of advice is being aware of the thought process, right? My one piece of advice is to feel it, to feel, to be aware of what you're feeling, be aware of where your focus is, that then starts bringing up feelings, basically.
You and I just achieved balance. I brought you
that, actually.
I just introduced a very male energy, a masculine energy thought, and you responded with a very feminine energy response, and it was perfect. It was perfect balance. You should always think of your thoughts and maintain your thoughts, and know manifestation is happening all the time, and you should regulate your feelings and remember to feel while it's happening. Make sure that you're keeping your feelings in check. Make sure that you're experiencing this in a way that's going to leave you with a positive feeling, because any experience, you could put two people in the same position, and they could both come out, one with a smile and one with a frown.
Yeah.
And it's just perception. So like you said, maintain your feelings, make sure that you're feeling, but also make sure that you have your minds. And I think that's a balanced thought.
Yeah. And I've just had a realization. I think that's why we're connected, we're bonded, because it's like, I feel like you're my brother. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
for sure,
we have this balancing effect. So whenever I come to you with issues or problems, or like, it doesn't even have to be a problem. Maybe I'm just like struggling.
Just communicating.
When we're just communicating
life.
Like, you come with this grounded logic that I don't really go to. Well, it's not my first thing that I go to. My thing is always feeling an emotion. Like,
my wife says the same thing. She asks me a lot, like, how can you just be okay with this stuff? But my mom told me something the other day, and I was talking to her. Me and my sisters, we don't think the same. We have very different thought processes. And me and my mom were having a conversation about my sisters, and she said, you're my only child that looks for the best in things and the best in people, and gives people the benefit of the doubt when you meet them, and they're innocent until proven guilty. And I said, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And she said, well, not a lot of people do that. And they don't. The template in which they operate is already geared to assume and suspect. And it causes the outcome to be negative. If you come into it expecting negativity, you will find it. And if, just like Carl Jung said, those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Those who believe in negativity will always find it.
Yeah, 100%. That's been my experience. I've had to work really, really hard to rewire my thinking, rewire my thought processes, like completely flip my mind around, basically, because I was a very negative led person, really. Like, that would always be, I would always go to the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario. Like,
right.
It took me even time to figure out, is there a best case scenario in this? Like, it was like when I was really small-minded. We've all been there. We've all been there.
And I think that's an illness of birth. We all start there. We all start thinking,
it's the fear. It's the fear.
We start with like this mesmerized look of life. We see it and it's magical as babies. Like when we first see our hands, we look at them like, whoa, our hands. But something happens along the way where life loses its luster as you become older and you become more aware. And I think as adults, our our mission in life is to find that luster again. And I think when you find that luster, you'll find out that life is actually giving you a bunch of gifts on a daily basis. You know, a lot of people are going, life is so hard. I just wish I wasn't here. But the fact that you woke up is an opportunity for you to make life less hard. It's an opportunity for you to experience a better day, an easier day, or a more fun day, or a happier day.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity. And if you keep frowning at opportunities, the universe is going to stop giving them to you. Eventually, if you turn enough opportunities down, the universe will go, he's not in the market. And that looks like death. That's what happens when people get so depressed that they grieve themselves into the grave. The universe just says, okay, I guess he doesn't want to play anymore. And they allow you to do the universe is going to allow you to play your own game if you choose to. So it's in our best interest. It would behoove us to see the positive and to grasp the silver lining. And if you ever get your fingers on it, it'll take you really, really far. It'll surprise you at how wonderful life can be.
And on that note, we're going to bring this first session
to a close.
Yeah, I couldn't even think what to say then. We're going to bring this first podcast recording to a close. And that was just like basically a little taster of the things that we're going to be discussing. I think some of the other recordings are going to be a lot longer. Mm-hmm. So it just depends. Me and Issa just flow with it. So yeah.
And we want to do this. We want to do roughly one episode a month. We have some guests lined up. We have some great topics lined up. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to finally get my voice out. I've been wanting to do this for so long. I feel like I told my friend this morning, I said, I feel like the last 6 years I've been preparing for this day. And I really do. I feel like, I didn't know why I was so interested in this. I really haven't. My life hasn't just, I'm not a millionaire, nothing amazing, spectacular, fantastic, but the way I see it is just improved on a consistent basis every day. And 7 years ago, if you had asked me anything about this, I would have told you you were a crazy person and this is nuts. Life sucks for everybody. Life is just hard. Stop trying to get your head out of the clouds. I would have told you all that stuff. And I am a testimony of how perception can change. And the experiences we feel and go through can change because our perceptions change. My life hasn't changed a whole lot, but my happiness level has gone through the roof. And I think everyone deserves to feel that.
And we want to be authentic and real as well. So I just want to add to be patient, because I personally don't feel very comfortable in front of a camera, whereas Issa, you're quite comfortable. So it's just be patient with us, because we want this to come across as real, authentic. We don't want to be portraying ourselves as people that we're not, or we want it to be showy. We are trying to show our true selves, and I hope that is coming across.
And I want people to know that we're open to questions. I'm always open to try to answer questions or receive questions and give you my opinion. But like she said, I want to give the disclaimer that you're not talking to, the head of, some organization or some master of something, or I didn't write any books. I'm someone who has experienced life on a lot of fronts, and I have found a template of thinking that works for me, and I'm willing to share it with anyone who wants to hear about it. And it can be rewarding. I think that's really my message.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we are so looking forward to the next one as well. Issa, do you want to say
anything? Actually, I'm so happy to do this, and please, follow us online, follow our episodes. We want to share, we want questions, we want participants. This is super exciting for us.
Suggest topics as well. If you guys want topics,
that's another thing. For sure. Tell us what you want to hear about.
Or if there's anyone that you want on our podcast as a guest, suggest away, guys.
Absolutely. This was excellent, and I'm so happy to be here. And I want to thank you guys for listening. Love, peace, and happiness.
Much love, guys. See you.